I was sleeping last night and I heard a knock on my window. Well, not really. I'm not sure because how my bed is set up is that my bed frame is right at the window, like against the window. I think in the middle of the night, I don't remember what time it was because I didn't look at my phone to see the time, but I just heard a quick knock, like very, very light, very quick. And then guess what I did? I just pretend I didn't hear it and then go back to sleep because there's no way that I was gonna look out the window. Who do you think I am? I'm not that person. I'm not that curious. So we'll see if the knocking continues tonight. If it does, I'm not gonna do anything about it because who am I to do anything about it? So if I die, I die, okay? Anyways, welcome back to my channel. I am in your walls. I am in my own walls. And I am in everybody else's walls. Yay. So fun. At this point, I make a living out of being in people's walls. So don't get me out unless you're paying me money to get out. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be here chilling. It is the beginning of September, and I hope everybody is gonna have a great start of September. I know I will be, since I do have a lot of things that I'm setting up for the future, and hopefully my endeavors will be thriving, right? On top of this channel, of course. And I feel like every video is like a different setup, and I know you guys are like annoyed because every time it's like zoom in, zoom out. Today, are you gonna see my face up close, or today are you gonna see my face far away? You don't even know. It's like a blind box. You don't know unless you click into it. A lot of changes are happening. I am getting a new camera. Yes. Yes, finally, yes. So we should see maybe better quality soon, maybe better progress, better setup, better a lot of things. Regarding filming time, I think I would just have to be filming during the daytime because I rely a lot on the sunlight, a lot more than I think I would, and a lot more than I would love to. But I'll continue to record during the daytime until I could figure out a great setup where the lighting would be sufficient for me to record during the nighttime. That's where I'm at with production. I also will be testing out thumbnails. So if you notice, the thumbnail for this video is different, then not really different. You can still see my signature me crawling out the wall like a menace that I am. I'm trying to see experimenting more stuff. So let's see how that goes. I also changed the banner of my channel. So if you guys are interested, please go look at it. I think it looks pretty cool. It's very simple, very clean, very put together now, right? The old banner was just all over the place. More fun, I would say. I feel like with the content that I'm doing, less is better. But that's just me. You guys let me know because I honestly don't know. I'm just doing things that would feel good. So I'm not really sure. Of course, feedbacks are welcome. I love feedbacks, so leave a lot of those. That's enough on production. I know I always yab about the way my videos are and stuff like that, and it gets redundant. I want you guys to know every step of the way that I'm doing this. I just feel like it's a great process. It's just fun to know. For me, it is. If you don't want to know, I guess you can skip it over. I do have timestamps, so you just want to get into the story right away, then just for this week's site, I am at www.scoopwhoop.com. What a fun name. And the title of the site is 55 Short Stories with Spine-Chilling Twists. I hope I don't have to split it into two parts, but I think I might have to split it into two parts. So this would be part one. As always, the link is in the description below. So go ahead and click on that if you want to read along, or if you just want the link and don't care for me, then you can click out. Please don't click out. I work very hard filming and editing. We will be jumping right in. First story, The Writing on the Wall. A young boy lay sleeping in his bed when he heard footsteps outside his room. He peeked out of his eyes to see what was happening when his door swung open to reveal a murderer carrying corpses of his parents. After silently propping them up on a chair, he wrote something on the wall in the blood of the dead bodies. He then hid under the child's bed. The child got scared beyond belief. He couldn't read the writing on the wall. and he knew the man was under his bed. Like any child, he pretended that he slept through the whole thing and hadn't woken up yet. He lay still as the bodies, quietly hearing the breeze from under his bed. An hour passed, and his eyes got adjusted to the darkness. He tried making out the words, but it was a struggle. He gasped when he finally read out the sentence. "I know you're awake." He read as he felt something shift underneath his bed. My condolences to the parents, and also my condolences to the child. What else can you do in this situation? The killer already know that you're awake and pretending to sleep. What else could you do? I think at that point you should just accept fate and hope that it is quick. But also, why aren't you calling the cops? How old is this kid? Hold on, how old is this kid? Well, it said a young boy, so we don't know how old he is. I feel like you could sneakily call the cops, no? Well, you're dead, so Next story. Blurry. I got my first pair of glasses last week. My parents didn't think I needed them at first, but the doctor said that there was something wrong with more than just my eyes that was apparently pretty common, and that I needed special prescribed glasses for my own good. He said that many people were never given the chance to see the way I would, so I was lucky to get them. I thought he meant cars and faraway words would become less blurry, but over the span of a couple days, many more things have become more clear. I started seeing nightmare creatures all around. I'd never seen them before, like in the corners of my room and in the darkened parking lots. I took my glasses off for the first time today, and let me just say, it's amazing how quickly demons and creatures turn into trees and shadows. I know I'm not seeing the truth, but I'm a simple person. I'd rather things remain blurry, just the way it is for everyone else. Me too, bro. Me too. Out of sight, out of mind. If you can't really see it, then it's not really there. And that's what I would always live by. Even though it's there, and even though you know that it's there, it's okay. It's okay. Just don't see it. You should be fine. In your situation, would you want to see them? I wouldn't. I would just live blind, and that's fine. Like right now it's blurry. Me looking at the camera, it's kind of blurry, and I would be fine. I would be really fine. Next story. We didn't question why. We didn't question why the small town we found after getting lost in the countryside wasn't on the map. We didn't question why the shopkeeper in town didn't have eyebrows or hair on his head. We didn't question why he looked so strangely, greedily at us. We didn't question why the gas at the station we stopped at was so learned travelers cheap. We didn't question why the clerk at the station, where are her eyebrows and hair, insisted on making a phone call in the back after ringing us up. We didn't question why the funny man outside our car let us know that the sun was going down. We didn't question why so many bald people stood on the street watching us frantically leave their town behind. We didn't question why we began pulling our hair out or why we decided to turn around and head back to town. We knew why. If you knew why, then you should have left at the first "we didn't question why" statement. Like by the second your human instincts start to kick in, like why don't this shopkeeper have eyebrows or hair? Why, like where are his hair? Like then you should skedaddle. You should book it. I don't get why people have survival skills of an ant. Wait, no. Ant has great survival skills. Yeah, I don't get why people have no survival skills. I don't have survival skills. Yet I'm always on the lookout for these kind of things because I'm scared. Okay? People aren't scared enough. People should be scared. Next story. The devil. I always had a problem with sleeping growing up. Many times I'd get sleep paralysis, but after I blessed my room, it hadn't happened in months. This happened to me about a year ago. I woke up in the middle of the night, frozen. If I tried to move, I would get a really loud ringing noise in both my ears. It would get louder each time I moved. I was terrified. I was too scared to open my eyes, but I felt a presence of someone in the room with me. My room isn't completely dark because I have a small blue nightlight. I open my eyes and see a very tall and dark figure with two horns on each side of his head, just standing there in the corner of my room facing me. I panic and try to move my body, but the ringing gets louder and louder and louder, and I can feel myself crying. I closed my eyes, and in my head, I started saying, God will protect me. God will protect me. God will protect me. Then I hear a low, evil voice say, God can't help you anymore. The reason why I sleep with a nightlight because I'm scared of the dark. I can't sleep in pure darkness by myself. This person also sleep with a nightlight and they happen to see the devil even with their nightlight. I'm concerned. Is my nightlight gonna be enough? Honestly, if the devil is coming after you, I think whatever nightlight, whatever brilliance that you have, you're done for. You can run away from ghosts, you can run away from ghouls, you can run away from monsters. You can't run away from the devil. So once again, you should accept fate and hope that it is quick. Yeah. Next story. The Old Man in the Well. Keith was 12 the first time the old man in the well spoke to him. Keith was out playing after dark on the family's small farm near the well. The old well had beams supporting a rope and pulley with a bucket attached, even though Keith was told that the well ran dry before he was born. Suddenly, he heard someone say his name in a slow, raspy voice. Keith whirled around and saw no one. A look of confusion spread across his face as he heard it again. Keith! This time, it was said with more force and a bit louder. The voice sounded like one of the old farmers who liked to smoke, thought Keith. Looking down the well, Keith heard the same voice asking, Have you got anything tasty? Keith couldn't see anything past the first 12 or so feet down the well, even though it was a full moon. Who are you? How you get down there? Keith asked. If you give me something tasty, I'll reward you, replied the voice. All Keith had were some cookies he had stuffed in his pocket as he left to play. He put those in the bucket and lowered it. He had lowered it nearly 40 feet and was literally at the end of his rope when he no longer felt the weight of the bucket on the rope. 20 seconds passed and he felt the weight of the bucket again and began to pull the bucket up. As he finished pulling the bucket up to the top, he heard the voice say, No, nice. Keith saw a reflection in the bucket and saw a rectangular piece of silver metal about the size of an army dog tag. It was completely flat and smooth. Want fresh, the voice said. Even though Keith tried to talk to the old man again, there was no response. Keith made up a story about where he found the metal and took it to his father, who took it into town and confirmed it was an ounce of pure silver. After that, Keith kept it a secret. It took a while to discover that the old man was only there the night of full moons. Keith quickly learned that only live things he put in the well could be rewarded, but only once for each item and once every full moon. So one of each kind of animal was lowered down the well and rewarded. Are you Noah from the Bible? One of each animal. Keith now had a cigar box mostly full of silver pieces by the time he was 16, but he had run out of different animals to get rewarded for. It was around this time that a local farmhand went missing. It was also the same time that Keith was rewarded with gold pieces for the first time. Once Keith took over the farm, temp workers seemed to vanish every now and then without explanation from the farm. The old man had finally found something tasty enough to always reward. Human greed sickened me. Keith turned into a serial killer just for some gold. Sick. This is why greed is such a evil thing. Out of all of these 7 deadly sins, greed has to be the one that is like the most sinister. A lot of people would do a lot of things because of greed. A lot of bad things. A lot of unimaginable things because they're greedy. Because of money. Because of power. I hope it was worth it, Keith. I hope it was. I happened to glance up at my camera and then I just see like this very dark screen and I was like, what is going on with the lighting? Turns out I put the white balance or the light balance to -1, which sometimes it makes it kind of dark. If you're like leaning or like if you're positioned in a certain way, it just makes it dark. So I fixed it. So now you could see me in light way better. Bright. Next story. The light. We made fun of little kids for one thing, leaving lights on everywhere. They turn lights on in every room as if it's some sort of security blanket. And if you ever force them to turn them off, they cry and scream and eventually you give in. The only time they turn off is with their parents. They feel safe. So very safe. I'm the monster that lives in your closet. I'm friends with the one under your bed and the one in the shadows. When you see us, you flee to your mommy and daddy. But we're not here to hurt you. We're here to protect you. If you think we're scary, just wait till you see their true form. They masquerade as one of you and you can never tell. You humans must be blind. Your true monsters sleep just down the hall. They pretend to love you, but it won't last. They try to convince us to let them in. But don't worry, we really love you and we will protect you. So when you see a shadow flit or a figure in the closet, remember, we scary monsters protect you from the human ones. So you're safe with us. For now. I can attest to this because I'm in the walls. I am the monster in your closet and in your walls. And I do love you guys a lot. And I will protect you to the best of my capabilities. That is because if you want me to protect you from another monster that is way bigger, way scarier than me, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm a run and you're on your own. I know my limits. I know what I should and shouldn't do. I shouldn't stand up to bigger monsters because that's crazy. I can't take them anyways. Interesting that the monsters are convincing you that the humans are evil. But how can I truly trust you, monsters, that you are the nice one? Well, I mean, humans are evil. Well, humans have the capabilities to be insanely evil. I guess at this point, which one would you choose? Would you want to be tortured by a human, or would you want to go out quickly by a monster? Hopefully you choose the right one. Hopefully. Next story. Closet light. I have a closet light. You guys see my closet light? My little purple trademark light. When I was a little girl, I used to read at night. I always kept my closet light on. It flowed from underneath the door and dissolved the illusion of darkness with white brilliance. Warm, inviting. I felt so comfortable that I would forget to turn it off afterwards. But one night, it turned itself off. This is what I mean when if you're a monster and you're living in my closet or living in my room, you should be helpful and useful. This is what I mean. This creature is helping her turning her lights off to save her electricity bill. And I think that's awesome. Because imagine if you go to sleep and then you forget to turn your lights off, which I do sometimes. And like my mom would come in the morning and she would turn it off for me before I wake up. But imagine my mom don't have to do that. Imagine someone just turn it off for you. I mean, if you're gonna be in my closet, you're gonna live here and like scare me or like occupy your presence and space in my closet, you should at least turn the lights off when I forget. I think this is fair. This is fair. Or we can go more logically speaking. What if she has a light bulb? Is like one of those that turns off automatically after a period of time and they just forgot. Imagine that you set up your light to be like that and then you forgot that you set it up like that and so you blame on the monster in your closet. That would be me. That would honestly be me. I forget stuff. Next story. Wedding day. I first met my wife in high school. Her beautiful sparkling eyes drew me in. They were a reflection of heaven and her voice a chorus of angels. I proposed after we graduated from college and we planned our future together. But things have changed since then. She's been acting strange lately. In bed, she'll toss and turn all night, muttering under her breath. Some nights, I would hear other strange noises, like faint screams. I still loved her though. We decided to get married at our local church. Before I knew it, I was waiting at the altar for her to walk down the aisle. I nodded to the priest and signaled to the man sitting in the front row. We pinned her on top of the altar as the priest wrapped her arms and legs in chains. She hissed and howled, her body writhing in agony. The priest grabbed the crucifix in front of her face and began the recitation. I wasn't going to let her go. I wanted my wife back. Honestly, respect for still being with her, even though she's possessed, and respect for trying to exorcise her so she can come back to you. Respect that you still love her despite everything. But this is crazy. Did they do this on the wedding day? We decided to get married at our local church. Okay, so the wedding day. Imagine you're being invited to this church wedding, right? And then you settle down. You're like, oh, this is gonna be great. It's gonna be so pretty. The couples, the wedding dress, the bride and groom. Ah. And then suddenly an exorcist happened. I don't know what kind of person I'll become after that. I don't know when I walk out of that church what kind of person would I be after witnessing that. But it will be interesting. It will be interesting. Every wedding after that can't compare. Absolutely not. Next story. Go to bed. Jacob decided to stay home when his mother went out. She told him to go to bed at 11, but unfortunately, he couldn't hear her over the sound of his music. Jacob haphazardly waved his mother goodbye as she closed the door. Jacob spent an hour and a half playing with his phone. Games, YouTube videos, movies, music. He even texted his best friend for a while until she no longer replied. He didn't pay any attention to the time until his phone battery hit 10%. Jacob realized that his mother never called or texted him in all the time that he had his phone. Jacob sent her a text. Hey. No reply. He was confused as to why she wouldn't answer him. She always answered her phone. His confusion chilled into concern as night fell and midnight rose. He sent another one. Mom, where are you? Again, no answer. Sweetie? A familiar voice rang from behind the couch. It sounded like his mother's. But it wasn't. Not entirely. It was warped, crinkling like folded tin foil. Jacob jumped and spun around, only for thick black hair to consume his sight. Why haven't you gone to bed? See what happens when you don't listen to your parents? I know my younger brother, he never likes to go to sleep. He's a teenager, so teens never like to go to sleep, is what I noticed. He would not. He would rather stay awake. He would be a Jacob. If anything were to happen, if our parents went out, I went out. And we told him, hey, by 11, you should go to sleep because at 11, your family turns into creatures, monsters. So you should go to sleep so we don't eat you, we don't kill you or whatever. He would not listen. So I understand Jacob's perspective here, but also he should have listened. Listen to your parents. If you're underage, listen to your parents. But why wouldn't you want to go to bed? I love sleeping. I'm so tired from my everyday life that every time when it's time to sleep, I'm so excited. Like, I need sleep. I don't get kids who... Well, I was a kid once who never loved sleeping. As you grow older, you want to sleep. Next story. The paper airplane. My bedroom was upstairs. I had a good view from my window to see the new neighbors move in next door early in the morning. There was a man and a woman carrying boxes into the house. They must have been a couple. My eyes traveled to the neighbor's vacant upstairs bedroom window, which was directly across from mine. It was open, and inside was a girl who looked about my age. She saw me and motioned for me to open my window. So I did. She leaned out the window, curved her hand around her mouth, and whispered to me, "Nice to meet you. I'm Sarah." I laughed. "Nice to meet you, Sarah. I'm Sam." She smiled. "Keep your window open," she said, and moved out of sight. I was confused. "Keep my window open?" She returned with something in her hand and tossed it over to me. It was a paper airplane. It slowly and gently made its way through my window onto my floor behind me. I walked over and picked it up. On top was written, "Open." I opened it and there was a message. "Hey Sam, I'll come over tonight and introduce myself." Hell no. Stay over there. If you want to introduce yourself, come over during the daytime. The fuck? I thought it was a bit strange and wrote back, "Come over tonight? What do you mean?" I turned around to toss it back, but she wasn't there. Of course she wasn't. The window was still open, so I tossed it in anyway, thinking she'll reply sooner or later. It was late into the evening and still no reply from Sarah. My mom invited the new neighbors over for dinner. I figured this is what Sarah meant by coming over tonight. Honey, come down for dinner, my mom shouted. I went downstairs into the dining room to sit at the table, but I didn't see Sarah, just her parents. I couldn't help but ask, "Where's Sarah?" The man and woman stared at me as if I said something out of place. "Excuse me?" the man said. I repeated myself. "Sarah, your daughter?" The woman put her hands up, covering her mouth. Tears flowed down her face. The man stood. "Our daughter died a year ago in an accident. I don't know what you're up to, but that's enough." They both left the house immediately. Mom glared at me. "Why would you do that, son? Just go to your room." A flurry of confusion was spinning in my head. I couldn't speak. I made my way back to my room, turned on my light, and lay on my bed. Then a paper airplane flew through my window, elegantly landing on my floor. I picked it up and looked out my window. Sarah was standing in the darkness of her room. My heart was pounding. She moved closer until the moonlight hit her face. Her eyes dark and skin gray. I looked down and read the message. "Behind you." My lights flickered off. The floorboards behind me squeaked. A dark whisper into my ear. "Sam." Mixed feeling because I'm sad that she passed away and her parents still very much miss her. But also, why are you terrorizing other people's kids? Or maybe she just want a friend. I'm just gonna think that she's harmless and she's a fun ghost and she just wanted a friend. Like, she's not creepy. Because we do have ghosts who are like fun to be around with. Why did that sound like it was from personal experience? No, guys, no, okay? Not from personal experience. I'm just saying there are ghosts who are friendly. They're lonely, so they want that type of interaction. But then there are ghosts who are like a menace, and you shouldn't interact with those kind of ghosts. I hope Sarah is a friendly, cute little ghost who just want a friend. And Sam and Sarah, they can be best friends. Yeah. And she can help him with things. Like, he's taking a test and he need answers. She can just flow through walls, get the answer, and come back and like give it to him. A partnership kind of vibe. It'll be a cute story, honestly. Next story. The Prettiest Girl. She was the prettiest girl in the class, but of course she never heard that from me. I was obsessed with her. I'll steal glances at her every chance I got. During class when I supposed to be taking notes. On the train we rode after school. Today, I wanted to do more. I hopped off the train when she got off and followed her out of the station and onto the sidewalk. I made sure to keep my distance. I wanted to surprise her. It was pretty hard staying within a good distance of her though. She kept taking furtive glances back, and I looked down at my phone or pretended to tie my shoe every time she would. When she unlocked the door and stepped inside her house, I crept to the front stairs. My heart pounded as I rang the doorbell. A chime sounded from inside and awoke the butterflies in my stomach. Just as I reached again for the doorbell, she opened the door ajar and, recognizing my face, gestured for me to hurry in, promptly closing the door behind me. "There was a guy," she paused. "There was a guy following..." "Yeah, it was me." The words came out of my mouth before I realized what I had said. "I know that," I sighed in relief. "But I'm talking about the man behind you." The doorbell chimed, and the butterflies in my stomach stood still this time. Know what you get? Okay, to be honest, I know this is very twisted of me to be thinking of this, but from all of the true crime stuff that I've been listening to, it makes sense. I was thinking the narrator was the teacher and they're following their student home. Apparently, the narrator wasn't a teacher and it was a fellow classmate. Based on the ending of this, the classmate just following their little crush back home, right? Like innocently. And then there's another person following the narrator, and that person is a man. Yeah, so now they're both in danger. Great. However, there is another take on this. Is I was thinking the twist here is that the girl noticed her classmate following her, so she opened the door for her classmate to come in, and then she trapped her classmate in there and then killed her classmate. That could be it. It is another situation of, you're stuck in here with me. You thought I was this innocent, cutesy, popular girl? No, I'm sinister. I'm a killer. I'm out for your blood, even though I'm a child. But don't follow people home, guys. I don't think that's legal, and it's weird and it's creepy. Don't follow people home unless you're a private investigator, so you're hired to follow people. Then yeah, sure. Only follow people if you're hired to do so. Don't follow people out of like your own volition. That's kind of weird. And if you don't think that's weird, something is wrong with you. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. You're weird. Next story. Mirror entity. No one believed me when I told them that my reflection in the mirror was alive. Grow up, dude. You're not a 5 years old. You're 24. That was all they said to me while laughing as a response to my story. Well, I had to admit, it was indeed sounded like a typical fear of a 5 years old would have. But I swear to God it was true. I couldn't remember since when my reflection came to life, but I remembered that it wasn't like that when I was a child. It was recently, I was sure, and it wasn't a ghost. Well, your reflection was alive, looked like an act of a ghostly thing. But no, mine wasn't a ghost. It felt to me as if it was a creature, an entity who lived behind the mirror or trapped in there. I couldn't tell why or how. What I could tell was my reflection was constantly trying to grab me as if it was going to pull me inside the mirror while it jumped out. Nope, that wasn't gonna happen. Ever. Ever since I realized that my reflection was alive and constantly trying to grab me inside the mirror, I always did my best to keep my distance from reflective surfaces. Like when I brush my teeth every night, for example, I always stood a few meters from the mirror so it wouldn't be able to grab me. The entity in the mirror was constantly showing a grumpy and angry face every time it was just the two of us in the room. No matter how I tried to smile in front of the mirror, the entity behind it never smiled. Never. It always looked grumpy and angry. One day, I took off on my flat for a sightseeing in the mall nearby when suddenly an earthquake occurred. It was a huge one. Everyone was hysterical. They were running around in panic, looking for a shelter. I ran to cover myself under a table to avoid getting hit by anything that fell, but I was too late. I didn't realize something fell from above me and hit me in the head. I fell down and I groaned from the pain. As the pain slowly faded, I started looking around. The earthquake had stopped. The mall was slightly dark. The light was out. It was messy in here. I gasped when I noticed something shiny not far from me. I turned my head and I saw a mirror, probably from the fitting room near me. In reflex, I crawled away as far as I could, even though my head and legs were hurting. Right there and then, I saw my reflection in the mirror. For the first time in forever, I saw the entity behind the mirror smiling at me, a devilish smile. A sense of horror grasped me as I saw the entity waving at me from behind the mirror, as if it was saying goodbye for good. I feel like if one day I found out that there's an entity in my reflection, I think this is where I would call a priest, a monk, a shaman, and a psychic to cleanse the mirror or cleanse me, cleanse my soul. Why is this entity attaching itself to my reflection? There has to be a reason, and I'm gonna find out why, because I'm curious. Not because I want to live, but I'm curious, right? And after I find out why, if it's a good reason that they want me, then I'll let them have me. If not, then something has to be done. Maybe I'll visit the Vatican and get rid of it. I don't know. But something has to be done. There should be an exorcist. I should be exorcised. Why are you stuck to me? What is it about me? There's more than 8 billion people on earth. What is it about me that you want to be with me? Wait, that's kind of flattering. Out of all these people, you want to be stuck to my reflection? I must worth a lot of things. Avoiding things and people, a lot of work. So face it head on, because avoiding is too much. Like, you're doing a lot of work just to avoid something or someone. Next story. How I sleep. I rarely sleep alone. Not that I have a choice in the matter. The night always starts, and for that matter, always ends the same. Knock back a few sleeping pills, take off my socks, and let myself get drowsy. Couldn't tell you why I even take them still. The pills, that is. I'm a creature of habit, you could say. Then again, So is she. I guess you could also say we're inseparable. Not that I planned it that way, that's just how it is now. Every night I wait, and every night her face appears. No matter how badly I clog myself with prescription pills, I can feel her arrival. Sometimes she's just a face, sometimes just a jaggedly rearranged torso. I couldn't tell you what's worse, her wide-eyed, contorted look of hatred or that delirious look of malignant joy spattered across his twisted face. It paces too, or it glides like it's on a conveyor belt back and forth. Her eyes never leaving mine, eyes wild with rage. The nights when the body of the thing lays itself beside me, to find us face to face with her lips agape, as if she was mimicking my horrified reaction, is beyond description. My whole body becomes liquefied with fear, and I bolt upright to escape, but never make it past my bedroom door. My legs fail me, and I'm suddenly a heap by my dresser drawer. That's when she kneels, purses her fat purple lips, and utters the only words I've ever heard her say since that night. You shouldn't have killed me. I was about to feel some type of sympathy for you. You know, I don't sympathize killers. Unless they're killing for a good reason. Like they're killing people who are causing harm to somebody else. But if you're killing just to kill, you're killing because it's fun, you're killing because you're twisted in the head, I don't feel any sympathy for you at all. You shouldn't be doing that anyways. But you chose to. And then you kind of like blame it on yourself, your mental health, that, oh, I can't help it. No, you can. You just chose not to, right? So I don't sympathize. You should sleep with her for the rest of your life because you shouldn't have killed her. Yeah. Now she haunts you, as she should. Next story. Tumbler. For as long as I can remember, the house at the end of the street held some mystery. Uninhabited for years, the local kids and parents all knew about its previous occupants and what happened. A young couple moved into the place around 2004. The young wife was upstairs one day when the husband rang the doorbell for some assistance carrying some boxes inside the front door. His wife said, "Coming," but then proceeded to take a tumble down the staircase and broke her neck upon hitting the front door, which was at the base of the stairs, dying instantly. The noise alarmed the husband, who dropped the boxes, and the rest is history. The husband was heartbroken and never spent another night there, leaving some things behind inside the house. As with all juicy tales, there were follow-up stories, and this is where things got weird. Apparently, one day a UPS worker walked up the house, mistaking it for the house next door, rang the doorbell to deliver a package, and heard someone say, "Coming." Then a moment later, something hit the door hard. It was late in the afternoon, no lights were on, and dead silence. This alarmed the man, but after asking, "Is anyone there?" a few times, he realized he was at the wrong address and made the correction. He told the neighbor, the real recipient of the package, about what had happened, and was genuinely shocked when he learned that nobody actually lived there anymore. The neighbor said his pallor went from natural hue to pure white terror. This just added to the legend. Around Halloween each year, we would have these contests to see who could ring the doorbell, stand there for 2 minutes without getting scared or running away. Nobody ever did it. Well, not until Casey moved into the neighborhood. His father was in the Navy and Casey was fearless. All the kids looked up to him. When Casey celebrated his first Halloween with us, he accepted the challenge. We watched from across the street. Hell, we were scared. Casey walked up to the house, rang the doorbell. Nothing happened. But then he reached for the doorknob and walked in, surprising all of us. "Is he fucking crazy, dude?" I shouted. Casey was now inside the weirdo house. It was dark, but we could see him with his flashlight in the rooms on the second floor. The rest of us looked at each other and said, "Fuck it," and ran across the street to join Casey. We get to the house, and right as we open the door, Casey comes tumbling down the stairs and would have hit the door if we weren't standing there holding it open. We picked him up and said, "What the hell happened?" "I rang the bell. Someone said come in. So I did," he replied. "But you fell." "Something pushed me, but nobody was up there at all." "Not a soul." First of all, Casey, you're awesome. You're so cool, Casey. I thought you were gonna be a bully, but you're so cool. Fearless. Absolutely fearless. Second of all, why is a ghost trying to harm a child? Because the ghost didn't try to harm the UPS man. The ghost told the child to come in and push the you're a bad ghost. I would say you're a bad person, but you're not even a person. You're a hateful ghost. Just because you have an accident and sadly passed away, that doesn't give you the right to try to take away another person's life, especially a kid's. Goodness gracious. He just moved in too. And you're already trying to get rid of him? You're awful. And honestly, I'm very scared, but if my neighbor have a like a haunted house or like a house that has weird vibes, I think that would be interesting. I think that would be a cool thing. I always wanted one. Do I? No, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I take it back. I don't want to ever encounter a haunted house in my neighbor. Next story. That damned mirror. After several giddy minutes spent making silly faces with my son, I sighed and held him close and smiled. I looked at our reflections in the mirror, in awe of the perfect little cherub I was blessed with. That's my boy, I said matter-of-factly, pointing to my son's reflection while beaming with pride. My reflection flickered momentarily, before an unearthly hand stretched out from the glass and plucked my son from my lap. No, that is my boy, a guttural voice declared. I would need more context. Because I'm thinking the dad who's holding his son while staring at the mirror kidnapped or trade places with the dad inside the mirror. Because what if the dad inside the mirror is the actual dad but got swapped? So now the actual dad is stuck inside the mirror. So that's why he's grabbing his son and be like, no, that's my son. Grabbing him back. What would you do though? Like if you're holding your child and then some hand just reached out and grabbed your child back into the mirror, what are you doing? Are you going into the mirror? Like what's your reaction? Because I feel like I would be frozen in place because I wouldn't know how to react. I would know what is going on. Like I think motherly instinct is I'll smash the mirror, go up to it and kind of like, no, my kid, like trying to get my kid out. But then that's all I could do. Unless I could go into the mirror, which entity who grab people to go inside the mirror, they usually cut that portal out. So then if any people who's trying to go into the mirror by themselves to like rescue the person being grabbed, they can't because that portal has been cut off. So then what can you do? You just lost your kid forever. Next story. Guardians. He awoke to the huge insect-like creatures looming over his bed and screamed his lungs out. They hastily left the room and he stayed up all night, shaking and wondering if it had been a dream. The next morning, there was a tap on the door. Gathering his courage, he opened it to see one of them gently place a plate filled with fried breakfast on the floor, then retreat to a safe distance. Bewildered, he accepted the gift. The creatures chittered excitedly. This happened every day for weeks. At first, he was worried they were fattening him up. But after a particularly greasy breakfast left him clutching his chest from heartburn, they were replaced with fresh fruit. As well as cooking, they poured hot, steamy baths for him and even tucked him in when he went to bed. It was bizarre. One night, he awoke to gunshots and screaming. He raced downstairs to find a decapitated burglar being devoured by the insects. He was sickened, but disposed of the remains as best as he could. He knew that they had just been protecting him. One morning, the creatures wouldn't let him leave his room. He lay down, confused but trusting as they ushered him back into bed. Whatever their motives, they weren't going to hurt him. Hours later, a burning pain spread throughout his body. It felt like his stomach was filled with razor wire. The insects chittered as he spasmed and moaned. It was only when he felt a terrible squirming feeling beneath his skin that he realized that the insects had been protecting him. They had been protecting their young. You wish that there's some type of monster insects that could protect you, but no, it's usually they laid eggs on you, so you're the vessel for their kids. Other than that, you're probably food. They're probably gonna eat you after all their kids fly out. But that's gross. That's gross. I don't have like a severe hatred for insects. Like I know some people can't stand cockroaches, like they're scared of them. They go crazy when there's cockroaches around. Like I'm not like that. Like I can kill one. But I still think they're kind of gross. Every time I see one crawling around on my computer screen or like on my setup or whatever, I would kill it, but like I would grab a wet wipe and I would like kind of kill it with that. I don't ever kill it with my bare hands. I don't know. It's like a weird, like I also feel scared, kind of. But they're smart. Like spiders, I know are very, very smart. I've seen videos where somebody would like kill a spider nest or whatever. The spider would actually follow you to get revenge. Or somebody ran through the spider web and was like, oh, sorry. And then the next day, the spider would remake the web, but then make kind of like some dotted lines so then you can see the web better. That's crazy. Like they understand you. And also there is a species of spider that they would learn your routine in the house so then they can avoid seeing you. So if you see them, that means that you're doing something different. And then the next day you won't see them again because they adapted to that routine. So spiders are really smart. And some of them do look cute. Insects are very smart. And a lot of them are gross. I hate flies. I hate mosquitoes. I hope no insect had laid eggs anywhere on me. Next story. Seeing red. The first day of school. Everyone loves the first day of school, right? New year, new classes, new friends. It's a day full of potential and hope before all the dreary depressions of reality show up to ruin all the fun. I like the first day of school for a different reason though. You see, I have a sort of power. When I look at people, I can sense a sort of aura around them. A colored outline is based on how long that person has to live. Most everyone I met around my age is surrounded by a solid green hue, which means they have plenty of time left. A fair amount of them have a yellow-orangish tinge to their auras, which tends to mean a car crash or some other tragedy. Anything that takes people before their time, as they say. The real fun is when the auras venture into the red end of the spectrum, though. Now and again, I'll see someone who's a walking stoplight. Those are the ones who get murdered or kill themselves. It's such a rush to see them and know their time is numbered. With that in mind, I always get to class very early so I can scout out my classmates' fates. The first kid who walked in was radiating red. I chuckled to myself. Too damn bad, bro. But as people kept walking in, they all had the same intense glow. I finally caught a glimpse of my rose-tinted reflection in the window, but I was too stunned to move. Our professor stepped in and locked the door. His aura, a sickening shade of green. Last week's stories, there was a school shooting story. I don't know if YouTube's gonna censor me for that. Seems like this week's story, there is also another school shooting story. That is something I absolutely hate. It doesn't imply school shooting, but it's a classroom setting and the professor has a green aura. Everybody else has red auras. Okay, fine. Not school shooting. The power is cool. You get to see when people die or how people die, apparently. Or like you can kind of guess. But then it's not cool anymore when you can see yourself. You telling me every time I look into the mirror or every time I look at my reflection, I can see my auras? What if I'm trying to go out to a birthday party and I looked at myself before I leave the house and it's a red aura? Do I just cancel going? Like, do I just be like, hey, sorry, I can't make it because I'm gonna die, so I'm gonna stay home and not die? And who will believe you? Who would believe you? Imagine if you're invited to your best friend's wedding and then you're like, yeah, I can't make it because apparently I'm gonna get into a car crash and pass away. Who would believe you? Regardless, I do want this power. It seems cool. I just don't want to see myself. I do want to see other people's auras, but not myself. I'm fine. That's it. Next story. Warrior of God. If God exists, why is there so much evil in the world? It's a common question, but it is misplaced. All things must have balance. Light and dark, good and evil, sound and silence. Without one, the other cannot exist. So if that's true, then God does nothing to fight evil? That might be your follow-up question. Of course, he fights evil relentlessly. I am D'Artagnan, one of his most holy and righteous angels. I roam the earth, disposing of evil wherever I find it. I kill the monsters you don't ever want to know about. I crush them completely so you can sleep at night. You humans have no idea how many of you live because of the work I do. But what about Stalin, Hitler, Ted Bundy, Jack the Ripper? Well, those are all the minor ones I had to let live. For balance. The ones I destroyed are too horrible and vile to survive. What's funny is while I would wager you never have heard the name D'Artagnan in any religious text, I bet you have heard of me. Americans, for example, have their own name for me. Sudden infant death syndrome. That was a twist I never seen coming. This is very touchy. I don't know if I can give my opinions on this, but so the reasoning here is that you kill the more evil when they're a child. Which, okay, fine, fair. Thank you, right? According to the list in this short story, you let Stalin, Hitler, Ted Bundy, Jack the Ripper go because they're minor ones that you had to let live. But what about slavery? What about genocides? Yeah, yeah, those aren't minor ones. I don't know, man. If you're gonna kill evil beings, evil human beings, or evilness when they're infants, then you should kill all of them. Just just a thought. Next story. The accident. It was 1 a.m. and Guy Halverson sat in his dark living room. He hadn't moved for over an hour. The accident earlier that evening kept playing over and over in his mind. The light turned red, but he was in a hurry and accelerated. An orange blur came from his right, and in a split second there was a violent jolt. Then the bicyclist rode across his hood and fell out of sight on the pavement. Horns blared angrily and he panicked, stepping on the gas and screeching away from the chaos into the darkness, shaken and keeping an eye on his rear view mirror until he got home. Why did you run, you idiot? He'd never committed a crime before this and punished himself by imagining years in jail. His career gone, his family gone, his future gone. Why not just go to the police right now? You can't afford a lawyer. Then someone tapped on the front door and his world suddenly crumbled away beneath him. They found me. There was nothing he could do but answer it. Running would only make matters worse. His body trembling, he got up, went to the door, and opened it. A police officer stood under the porch light. "Mr. Halverson?" asked the grim officer. He let out a defeated sigh. "Yes, I am sorry, but I'm afraid I have some bad news. Your son Spike was struck by a hit-and-run driver this evening. He died at the scene. I'm very sorry for your loss." Hit-and-runs are bad. We all agree. And I think this is me thinking. There is remorse, right? Like he regrets it, but karma works in a wonderful way. This is a public announcement. If you hit somebody, don't panic, okay? Because he panicked because of the cars behind him were like, "Hurry up, get out the way." So then he just drove off. But if he just stayed calm, handled the situation as he should, then maybe his son would still be alive. Maybe. Because now that he drove off, what if all the other cars drove over his son multiple times? Because they're also apparently in a rush themselves or whatever. In this case, would he deserve it? He felt bad about it. He hit his son and karma was like, you know what would be so funny right now? And that concludes part 1 of the site. I realized I actually skipped quite a few because I've read those before, and a lot of the ones I read before were actually in my previous video. So if you guys want to go check that out, go to my previous video. I don't know why I'm pointing here, because I don't even know how to kind of link the previous video here. I skipped quite a few. I think I skipped 7 or 8. Other than that, I think the stories this week were pretty good. I mean, some of them were, the creepiness is there. And this is what happened when you don't vet your stories, is that I didn't even know that there's so many of them that are repeats. Maybe I should just read repeats. But if I read repeats, I don't have anything new to say or to add on to that for you guys to hear. my opinions, or maybe you don't want to hear my opinions. I don't know. But I usually voice my opinions after a story. So yeah. But then there is also the thing like if you're a new viewer, like you're new to the channel, you obviously haven't watched the other stories, other videos before, then you wouldn't know that story and my opinion on those stories. So I don't know, maybe after next week, which is gonna be the part 2 of this site, I would start, like if I encounter a story that I've read before, I would read them again and kind of give my think piece again. And then maybe if I keep doing that and eventually a year later my perspective changed, right? Like I grew up with something and then I can say different things. But yeah, maybe I should do that. Yeah, I should. I'll go ahead and do that to moving forward after this site. So 55 stories, I think I hope there's at least 20 left because I'm kind of scrolling down a little bit. And 3 of the stories after the one I just read, the last one I read, are the same stories from last week's video. You guys go check that out. But I should be able to finish this site next week. And then we move on to another site per usual. Yeah. Anyways, other than that, I don't have much to input. I do have a lot of work, personal work to do, so I'm kind of wrapping things up quickly here so I can go do them. Remember to leave feedbacks or any recommendations you would like me to read or react to. Just drop it on the comments. And of course, please drop new feedbacks about my new thumbnail and my new banner. That would be greatly appreciated. I always want to know what other things I could do to make things better, but also I love reading comments and feedback, so more of that please. Low-key though, I was thinking maybe I should do YouTube ads just to get more views on my videos, but I feel like that's not organic, so I'm just gonna keep doing this organically. I feel like the only thing that's holding me back from doing a YouTube ad is my quality. Like it sucks. So I don't have confidence in doing the ad and hoping to see results, because if my quality sucks, then it's just that's what it is. Nothing can save it. Not even putting money in an ad and marketing can save it. So, but I work hard and that's how it matters. Anyways, thank you for stopping by this week and I hope to see you guys next week. Bye.